यार। हाँ, मैंने ही लिखी है भाई। Which made Kaagaz India's largest document shared scanning and storage app and gave बोल देना कि मैक्सिमम लोग वहाँ से आ रहे हैं, यूट्यूब पे भी लाइव स्ट्रीम होगा, ठीक है? ठीक है। तो वेलकम करते हैं, सब विल वेट फॉर लिटिल व्हाइल फॉर द पार्टिसिपेंट्स टू जॉइन। कर दूं? बोल दूं? Good evening, sir. We'll start in a few minutes. More participants are coming through. Damn it. Am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible? My name is Yash Pathak. Unmute करो. Am I audible? Good evening, बोल दो sir. Good evening, sir. We'll be starting shortly as more participants are coming through. Can you please confirm that am I audible? टीवी है सर, आई डोंट थिंक मीट में है. क्या हो गया? कैमरा बंद करो. कैमरा बंद किया. हाँ, कैमरा बंद किया है मैंने. 6-1 हो गया. मैं ऑडिबल हूँ, आवाज़ आ रही थी ना? गुड इवनिंग सर. तमनजीत सर, आर वी ऑडिबल? हाँ जी सर. बात की थी सर. सर चले गए क्या? सर है ही नहीं, लीव कर दिया होगा उन्होंने वापस. हाँ. एक बार समीक सर को सुन के. हाँ, समीक सर कहाँ है? हाँ ये रहे. इनको प्रेजेंट. गौरव कुमार को भी कर दो ना. गौरव कुमार. ठीक है. तो वो सर नहीं है ना अभी? ठीक है. ओके. कूल. क्या? कौन है ये? हाँ चाहिए मेरे को. चले जाओ. अरे है ना, चल तू रुक जा थोड़ी देर. सर ही नहीं. अपने आप को भी प्रेजेंट बना. यश को ना. हाँ ठीक है. ठीक है. आ गया. ही इज इन द मीटिंग. हाँ.
Am I audible?
अभी म्यूट
I can't hear anything. Just a second.
इसको आप हो तो हाँ पूछ एक बार गुड इवनिंग बोलो, एक बार गुड इवनिंग बोलो और बोलो थोड़ा 5-10 मिनट 5 मिनट रुकेंगे। Damn it. मुझे कुछ नहीं आ रहा। ये नहीं है सर, ये नहीं है।
Hi. Am I audible?
थोड़ी देर कहाँ से आएगी?
उठा ले हेडफोन फैन की आवाज आ रही है, टीवी की आवाज आ रही है, मीट की आवाज आ रही है।
हाँ आ रही।
मीट में पीछे सर की आवाज आ रही है।
हाँ सर की आ रही। थोड़े बोल दो 5 मिनट 2-3 मिनट में चालू करें।
हाँ मैंने उनको बोल दिया
ठीक है
ठीक है। अब तेरे को सर की वीडियो नहीं दिख रही क्या?
नहीं, मैं बोल देता हूँ विल स्टार्ट सून। ठीक है
हाँ अच्छा एक मिनट इधर आ गया रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन कर दो, रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन कर यहाँ पे एक मिनट का देखो
ये रहा सर। स्पॉटलाइट फॉर एवरीवन। सर सबसे नीचे हाँ। पूछो सर से।
दोबारा ज्वाइन करेंगे
प्लीज सर काम करो।
हाँ
हाँ
जब मैं
हाँ आप कर दो। ये कनेक्टेड है ना अभी? मुझसे कुछ बटन दब गया था उसमें।
अरे वो चलेगा
ठीक ये ऑनलाइन वाला बच्चों की लगती है।
इंटरनेट भी 5G है।
अब चालू हो गया मीट?
हाँ तो दिख रहा है।
अब मैं बोलूँगा विल स्टार्ट सून। गॉट डन इट।
वैसे दो भी वो है
सर डाल दो, मेरे स्क्रीन पर डाल दो। हाँ है।
और जो मेरे को स्ट्रीम स्टार्ट करने दे बोल देता सर
या
एक सेकंड
ठीक है।
बोल दो जल्दी
गुड इवनिंग सर, एम आई ऑडिबल?
Okay, we'll start soon, sir. Sorry for the technical issues. जैसे मैं तेरे को लिख दूंगा हाँ ठीक है. हाँ ठीक है, छोड़ रहा हूँ. एक सेकंड. Good evening to one and all present here. My name is Yash Pathak. I welcome you all to the speaker session with Tamanjit Bindra sir, co-founder of Kaagaz. He'll be walking us through the journey which made Kaagaz India's largest document scanning and sharing storage app and gave other applications a run for their money after it hit the markets. The idea behind Kaagaz was conceived when co-founders saw a massive spike in Indian users looking for basic tools to start their digital life. Over 500 million users have come to the internet and to digital life in the past few years through their smartphones. All these users have skipped past the desktop generation and were mobile only users. They were looking for tools that were built for them, while the market then only offered global products that were built for desktop. Hence, Kaagaz was built around that idea, with a vision of building mobile first productivity tools for Indian users to become part of the mainstream digital economy. Tamanjit Bindra sir, a graduate of our very own alma mater, Army Institute of Technology, is behind all the technology at Kaagaz. He has spent more than a decade coding internet products. Post his engineering degree, he worked for 3 years at Dell Perot. Then, after a sabbatical of nearly 2 years, he went on to work at Magic Bricks as a member of its technical team. Then he worked at Raftar.in, world's largest Hindi content aggregator, where he was leading the technical operations. After that, he worked as the tech lead at TapMe, an app which provides on-demand home services. He is also the co-founder of Sorted AI. It's an honor to have you today here with us, sir. And with that, let's hear it from the man himself. Yeah, शेयर का ऑप्शन चाहिए सर को. Happily, sir. Okay. Oh, sir, you can share now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible. Yes, sir. आवाज आ रही है अभिमान। Okay. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Want to use it. So just out of the blue, we decided to develop a scanner, and we developed it under in a week or so, and we put it up on Play Store. Uh,
सर मेरे को सुनाई नहीं दे रहा. मेरे को सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. भी नहीं आ रही पर आवाज़ नहीं आ रही। कनेक्ट हो गया।
everything. But while we were trying to solve the problems of our
कुछ कह रहे हैं ना वो। अभी चल रही है। मेरे को आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है। हाँ।
they aren't users who use search or browser. Even if they're using search, they're more of a voice command kind of user who would click on the Google mic button and uh, ask Google to do something rather than go ahead and search for it. Their world revolves around they are more open to and more okay with going on to a Play Store and downloading an app rather than trying to search for something on the internet or on a search engine. They are non-text users, as I said. They use voice, images, video or emojis for anything communicating. So they are the people that you would see on even on WhatsApp would would never type a message to you. They would send a voice note. And we know a lot of people like that around us. And most of the users are non-English speaking. English, at least, is not a preferred language, although they are able to understand and read simple English. That's the Bharat user that we got introduced to. Once Kaagaz got its first traction that we got. So, interesting thing that we noticed about them, as in terms of properties, was what we talked about in the last slide. Uh, so their way of managing documents or managing notes and everything is typically very hacky. They use WhatsApp or use offline notebooks to do all of that. The problem with is that it's hacky and difficult to manage, stay organized with, uh, and only small serves a very small scale purpose. As in, they struggle with it for the whole day. Uh, the solutions which were available into the market at that time or still are to some extent are the uh, Microsoft Office or the G Suite of the world. The problem with these tools or with these products is that they were kind of built for only desktop, and they have now been fit into mobile phones. So there is a huge vacuum for mobile first tools. They are not built for Bharat users because they aren't simple enough for them. To the extent that they have things like email-based login flows, which, as mentioned before, most Bharat users don't have. A very interesting thing about Bharat users that we kind of noticed when we spoke to our users was that uh, Play Store requires email login for you to do that. So when they go and buy a phone from a kirana shop or from a mobile shop, uh, the mobile the mobile shop owner feeds in a fake email ID, as in an email ID which is a common email ID for all of them, into the Play Store, and so that they could go ahead and use a Play Store. Very interesting thing around that. Uh, they are, of course, getting back. So these products are, of course, English only, uh, and they have a steep learning curve because they aren't really simple. They aren't built for people who uh, have just started getting used to what technology is. They are built for people like you and I who have been using technologies for a very long time. So if I think about myself, started working when on computers when it was just DOS based or just Linux based. From there, I have naturally progressed on to a mobile phone. But these people are have been shocked into the technology world, and they aren't really used to a lot of conventional things that you and I are, to the extent that they really don't even understand the you know icons. So a share icon is something that they probably don't understand. They understand WhatsApp means share. So very interesting user base, and it's all around us. So when we got introduced to this kind of a user, and we realized that there aren't very many tools out there which are trying to solve for this user base in terms of uh, providing them with a solution for their problem. We decided that we would extend the vision of Kaagaz from being just a scanner to be a mobile office for Bharat. Office is in the sense similar to what Microsoft Office is, or G Suite is for desktop or cloud-based systems. Mobile Office is something that is going to be helping in their in their day-to-day tasks, in their office-related work, but it's based purely for mobile. Uh, so the mission statement was that we would be building easy-to-use tools on mobile to empower 500 million plus Bharat users who don't have a desktop. Uh, so the tools are also going to be very different, is how we've imagined it. So typically they don't require a document per se. They require ways in which they can store physical documents in a digital format. So they don't think in spreadsheets or Excel or micro or a document. They think in terms of PDFs, to put in as simply as that. And so they'll so the tools are also going to be different, is how we've imagined it. It's going to be scanning, uh, as in helping them digitize their documents, and things around that is how we've imagined the mobile office for Bharat would be. There are different parts to that. So first part is document consumption and storage. As I said, the first step for digitization is typically scanning a document for most of these users, and scanning is the primary use case for which they come onto the app. Also, uh, has a very high usage, or at least search volumes on Play Store for that, and they come in for scanning, uh, but we also help them consume those documents by providing them with a reader, PDF reader in Kaagaz. Help them manage their documents by allowing them to structure it. So they understand documents, they understand what a folder looks like in physical world, and putting a document inside a folder. So essentially, documents is what they get by scanning, and they have folders they have folders inside Kaagaz which they can essentially move the documents to. We also help them with backing up the documents on cloud. So interestingly, these users don't understand what cloud is or how it works, but they do understand data continuity. When I say data continuity, what it means is that in case I, a Bharat user, change my mobile phone, still most of my, or still all of my data would, I will be able to get it onto my new phone. So respecting that, we allow cloud to be working in the background so that people don't come on to say that I have lost my document when I've shifted my phone. Most of the documents get backed up once the user is logged in, and gets restored whenever they move on to a new device. So this was document consumption and storage, the first element of how mobile office for us would be. The next part would be document editing. They understand, so most of the Bharat users, they understand that they can edit documents, and we allow them with tools to do that. The tools which are shown here in the slide, this is an old slide, so there are a lot more tools now. We allow them to even add a signature to a document, so they don't really have to go ahead and take a printout of a document and sign it. They can do that on the mobile phone itself. We allow them to you know in the next few days we'll be allowing, it's a new tool that we are going to be adding in a few days. We're going to be allowing them to highlight, so simple things like a teacher who's trying to explain something to her student, through while checking a paper, instead of on a physical format, she can eventually go ahead and write notes to it and send it back to the student. So tools around documents, PDF tools, is what we named it, because essentially most of the Bharat users think in PDF. uh, we have there are two more parts to it. One was the document part, the other was the tools part, editing part, and then the natural, this thing that we realize is that a lot of these people, since they belong to business, they would want to promote their business. Their way of promoting their business is by sending greetings on WhatsApp groups, or setting a status with their business name somewhere on that. So in Kaagaz, we also have a creation tools part, which we typically can be imagined as Canva for Bharat. It is again a very simple tool which allows them to have a good design, which is probably, so for example, it's Holi today. They have a design which talks about Happy Holi. They have a place where they can add all the important information around the business. What do they do? What's their contact information? Add a logo to it, and then send it to all the WhatsApp groups that they want, or set it up as a DP on WhatsApp, or as a status from WhatsApp. So this is what that is. Kaagaz has a lot of Bharat features, as we call them. We aren't really, so we have mobile phone login as the primary way of logging in, because most of the Bharat users aren't email users, as I had mentioned before. They typically use mobile phones to log in either through OTP or through Truecaller. We have multiple languages which they can select from to change the uh, language to what they prefer uh, in the app itself, and we allow them to import documents from WhatsApp. Uh, Again, this is primarily because WhatsApp is their document dump. They receive all the documents on WhatsApp, and they would want eventually all of those documents to be in in a place which they can organize it better. And Kaagaz is one of the places that they can do that. We have received a lot of love and support from across the board. A lot of social media influencers, a lot of influencers per se have talked about how simple Kaagaz is, and how we've been building something that uh, is solving a problem. We've also been recognized across by different governments, as well as uh, we were a part of Atmanirbhar App Challenge the year that it was launched. We got a special mention in the office category. We've so Ministry of Education, Honorable Education Minister himself, and also Honorable Prime Minister, in his Man Ki Baat updates, has mentioned about Kaagaz. Now I'd like to spend next few minutes trying to help uh, those who are trying to move into doing their own thing with a startup by telling them about what my learnings have been till now. So the first and foremost important thing that I've realized is that we have to start with a question, uh, and the most important question is about your product is why. Why are you building a product? So for us, the answer would be, for Kaagaz specifically, the answer would be that because there is a lack of simple tools which is trying to help people, a large user base with their problems every day, uh, is the why that we are working for. Uh, Similarly, whatever product you're trying to work on or work at, it should have a clear why statement, and how and what is something that will come later. But answering the why question is important, because without the why, you would not have a how or a what. Uh, this gentleman on screen is Sam Altman, which a lot of you would know is currently the CEO of Open AI, the one who's behind ChatGPT and everything. So it is his quote, which I'm trying to quote here. Uh, he says, "Make something that people want." Uh, you know, After starting with the why, you would also want to know if the why is actually trying to solve for a lot of people. Uh, Unless and until people use your product is just going to be just a you know uh, Git repository which you developed over a weekend, which nobody going to be eventually using. It's made into the code is eventually made into a product if people actually use it. So until unless that happens, your product is not going to work. So uh, ideas are commodity, execution of them is not. Uh, so yeah, everybody I know of, who's worked with me, always has had an idea of that they would want to make something, uh, but eventually it doesn't get executed. It just stays on as a dream. So eventually the one person who decides to act on the idea is going to get much closer to success compared to someone who just thinks about good ideas. So yeah, a lot of ideas that are out there are seem very simple and seem as if you or someone close to you has had that idea. uh, but ideas are really just as so ideas are typically cheap. uh, it's the execution eventually which decides who is going to lead the race. So yeah, this is one of my favorite quotes: to win, you have got to stay in the game. Uh, this is important because for everything in your life, perseverance is something that eventually decides who's going to win. And the longer you stay in the game, the more the chances you have to win it. So that's why. For those of you who are thinking about entrepreneurship and want to eventually decide to do a startup, I have some of the questions that a lot of you would have had, that I would be answering here. So yeah, how to come up with an idea? There's no simple answer to that, but typically some a problem that you've personally faced or seen people around you face is the best place to start. Uh, Idea which is personal to you gives you the passion to work on it. If it's an idea if it's a problem which essentially a lot of people around you faces, that would give you the right user base also to start off with. So look for ideas which are more of a problem to you or to people you know of. How to find co-founders? Uh, Typically, you would want to work with people who you already work with for some time in in a professional, you know, environment. Uh, Also, it helps if you have roles divided upfront. So, the best thing about me and my co-founders that I feel is that we have our roles defined very well. I look after tech, Gandhi looks after product, and Gaurav looks after marketing. So essentially, we have all those roles defined. And if they aren't really overlapping, it helps because then you would not have team, or you would not have a product which is essentially lacking in some way. So look for people who you've worked with before in a professional this thing, and look for skill set uh, which is more in sync with each other. As in, someone if someone looking after tech, the other person should be looking after a product and is equally passionate about it. How to raise funding and prepare a B plan. Uh, the first part is more around initial funding. So a lot of initial funding would be coming in from people that you know of. So which typically everybody calls as the friends and family round. If you would want people around you to be uh, investing in your idea and your product. The reason for why I insist on having a friends and family round is because if you can't convince people around you about your ability to make a product, you can't really go ahead and do that to an investor who's a complete stranger to you. So raise it from people around you first, and then eventually when your product is ready and you have a deck and a business plan in mind, you go ahead and pitch to investors. About preparing a business plan, so typically the way that I look at it, or we look at it, and we have been generating revenue for a year now, is that you look for places in your product which without which people can't really survive. So when we started off with Kaagaz, we realized that cloud storage is a problem that people don't realize at that moment. But when they want to get their documents back, they realize that they require cloud storage for that. So we started our business initial offering started in terms of subscription was through by allowing them to have more storage space. Now it's evolved more into allowing them to have features uh, which we feel is going to be more of uh, everyday problem for them, or at least a weekly problem for them. Things like tools. Some of the usage is limited, and for other tools it's like completely paid. uh, so scanning, simple plain scanning remains free, but HT scan or allowing an identity ID card scan is a paid feature. So things like that is how we've looked at uh, working on the revenue part. And preparing a business plan essentially is looking at how you would want your business to be, say 5 years or 10 years down the line. What would eventually be the kind of market that you catering? How many people in terms of their, and whether it can achieve a market cap of say $1 billion. So you prepare your plan accordingly. Next question is, what about financial stability? So financial stability is a misnomer unless and until you uh, you know burden yourself with debt. Uh, there is really no financial stability that you should seek, is what I believe in. Say no to debt as much as you can. Uh, a lot of other things work out on their own. Also, try to have try to do all your experiments before you're married, and if you're married, try to have a spouse who's working. uh, Works best for everyone. uh, yeah. what if I don't like it and just want to do a job? So the best thing about as I mentioned before, while I was preparing for civil services and I didn't succeed, post that I decided to join back uh, the industry, and I was able to get a job back in 1 month. Uh, I would want to think that a lot of things that I read and a lot of experience that I had while preparing for civil services did help me out in that sense. So no experience goes waste, and if you're working on a product which is still linked to the industry that you're working in, it really isn't a problem in terms of getting back to a job. In case you think that doing a startup is not your thing after you've tried and experimented with it. So yeah, I think I'll done here in terms of my this thing. There's just one more thing. In terms of how I look at things, there is no right or wrong. Not really. There is just the thing that you do. So don't judge yourself too heavily. Don't think about how others are judging you. Just be what you are. Stay in the moment and plan for only the immediate steps with a larger vision in mind. Thank you. Would be able to take questions if there are any.
Uh, Thank you so much. So that was a really insightful session in towards Kaagaz. We have received some questions. Uh, so first one was, how has Kaagaz evolved since its initial release, and what updates can users expect in the future?
So when we started off Kaagaz, our main aim was typically to have as many users as we want. Somewhere down the line, we realized that getting users is not going to be that difficult, since it's a very high volume use case, uh, at least scanning. So we started to change our focus to monetization, and that's what has been the focus in terms of how we look at it as a business. In terms of the product, we continue to keep our product as simple as it can. We are also now pursuing more towards having multiple products in the market, with Kaagaz being more of an experimental ground, since it already has a huge user base. So we have recently launched the Posters app, which is still a part of Kaagaz, uh, catering more to people who would want to make posters or things around promoting their business. So as a separate app, and that's what we're eventually going to be doing in terms of the product. We're going to be experimenting with certain things in Kaagaz because of the huge user base, and if we feel it can work as a separate product, launch it as a separate product and let it be a revenue stream. uh, in terms of what people can expect, we will keep on adding more tools, uh, and keeping things simple is what you can expect.
Very shut up.
You're
Uh,
on mute.
yeah, thank you so much, sir. The one thing that I really connected with, that ideas are not a hard thing to find. So when did you think that Kaagaz as an idea was something that it would make a impactful difference in everybody's life? Like, when did you realize that it was a great idea?
I think the day when we got more than a lakh download in a day, we realized that this is the kind of scale that we've always thought of exists but never really seen. So it's called what we call in terms of startup lingo is PMF, or product market fit. Uh, so there is so what's really typically talked about product market fit is that you know it when you see it, as in you can see it and you know that you've achieved it because you're trying to solve for problems uh, uh, at a pace which is you know uh, at a pace which essentially is outrunning the demand from users. So more users are demanding for changes in your app or in your product, and you are unable to do that in the time frame.
I believe someone has a question. Samik sir has a question.
Hi, good evening, sir. So it was great to hear about your company and how your journey was. So I just have a question. So, for example, if you have to create Kaagaz today, so what technical stack would you have used? Like there is a trend that people are using cross-platform, like frameworks like Flutter, React Native languages to develop the applications, and you have developed your application natively. And recently, we have a like company from our alumni like Scrollcard. They have launched their own like MV like product which will then test their company and see what the like product has the potential. So my question is like what are the technical stack would you have gone for, and what are the things which we should keep in an MVP when we are looking for product market fit?
Cool question. So, essentially, in terms of using tech stack, it depends upon a lot of things. One, a few that I can think of is what stage you are in. If you are in an experimental stage, still trying to find product market fit, you would want to experiment quicker. It makes a lot of sense to have hybrid apps, or have apps wherein you could change things on server and you don't have to send a Play Store because Play Store update because Play Store updates are slow, and you can't experiment fast enough. Uh, so one is that. The other is that if working on native provides you an edge. So in our case, it did because we use a lot of open source technology, which essentially requires native platform or native libraries to work upon, and that's why we decided to keep it native. Uh, but if it's an experimental environment, please go ahead with having hybrid apps. Is what I believe in. Uh, so that was first part of your question, and what was the second part? I'm sorry, I'm missing.
Yeah, the second part, like what are the features to keep in an like MVP so that you can
Yeah,
go for a product market fit like we can
yeah.
check.
So in terms of MVP, I think keep it bare bone minimal. You don't really have to care much about the UI or the user experience of it. If it's a problem that is worth solving for, you would get PMF and then you can work on the experience and the UI part of it. But typically, try to experiment as fast as you can when you're trying to develop an MVP, and do as many things as you can around it. So you don't have to think in terms of features, think in terms of solutions.
All right, got your point, sir. Thank you so much for the answer. Over to you, Yash.
Okay. Uh, Thank you so much for this wonderful session, sir. I don't believe that there are any more questions right now.
Right. Thank you everyone for having me, and
Yes, it was
keep
a
up the
wonderful
good
session.
work. Keep up
Thank
the
you so
good
much.
work with enough. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye, sir. Yes, nice. हाँ एंड फॉर ऑल एंड फॉर ऑल हाँ ओ भाई बहुत ऐसे बैठना पड़ रहा है सबसे लेकिन आने वाले टाइम में अगर उसने कोई क्वेश्चन देखा है ऐसा कुछ हुआ किसी ने भी तो वो अच्छा नहीं है टीम कैंसिल करके इसके वाले अभी रिकॉर्डिंग सेव होगा फिर देखना इसका फाइल भी नहीं चला इसको पहले चैट में लगा हाँ दोनों साथ में अरे कल तो ऑफलाइन होगा ना अब बस ऑनलाइन खत्म हैप्पी नहीं सर वही तो बात है जितने हैं उतने लेकर आओ कोई दोगे पैसे भी लेंगे प्राइजेस हैं ठीक है बंदे बुलाने हाँ सब आएंगे ये भी आएगा ये वैसे सर नहीं ऐसी कि सारे मुझे ये समझ आ रही है डेस्कटॉप ऑडियो क्यों जा रही है
लिंक भेज देना
फिर अब इसका क्या करना है, अब तो हो गया ये।
अरे अगली बार के लिए सोच
अगली बार सोचना, अभी क्या ही
कोई विदेश
अब कल का जो रिकॉर्ड करना है वो टेस्टिंग करेगा। वैसे ऑडियो आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा, वो टेस्ट करेगा।
नहीं, अरे उसमें सीन सही रहेगा। इसमें एक्चुअली ये था कि
नहीं, उसमें क्या होता है, उसमें तुम कॉलम लगाओगे और एक खुद का हैंडमेड लगाओगे, जो मैच इको करता है। तो मैं ऐसा मैच सेटअप करना है ताकि पीछे तक आवाज भी जाए, साथ में रिकॉर्ड भी हो। वैसे सेट करके देखना है।
एक ही तो बंदा होगा, कॉलम में कौन लगा रहा है? कोई बिल्कुल नहीं लगाएंगे, उनके पास नहीं कॉलम है।
गवर्नमेंट तो कॉलेज में है।
तो ऐसा करेंगे ना कि जो ऑडियो इनपुट लेनी है,
हाँ, या फिर अगर जो तुम्हारा पीसी है,
हाँ वही,
उसमें मेन जो पीसी है उसमें रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन करना, अशोक करूँगा एंड ये कैमरा एंड वो सेटअप सब कर देंगे।
कल करना है।
हाँ
हाँ तो परमिशन तो भेज, अब नहीं है ना टाइम। और कल कितने बजे? कल 3 बजे। अभी तो कौन सी सेशन है कल?
9 बजे से 10-12 बजे कर सकते हैं।
तो विघ्नेश को रहेगा ना वहाँ पे? तू बोल रहा है